Hey, what's up YouTube? In this video, I'll be showing you how to make another wooden house. By the way, just in case you have any more wooden house related needs, or any other house related needs in general, feel free to check out the card system and the links below down in the description for my various house tutorial playlists. There are quite a few of them. I'm sure that you'll be able to find something you like. But now that all of that's out of the way, if you want to make the house, here's what you're going to need. You will need some spruce wood, and some birchwood planks. Then grab yourself some birchwood stairs, and some nether brick fence, and finally grab yourself some glass pane. And once you have each one of those materials right there, and once you've figured out where you want to make it, I'll be making it right here, you're going to want to kick off your house with 2 spruce wood coming directly up from the ground. So that's 1 and 2, directly on top of each other. Once you have your row of 2, you now want to take this top block, this second block, and go right of it by 6. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then connect that 6th block to the ground, like so. You then, once you've connected it to the ground, want to take this 6th block again and go right of it by 4. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Then connect that 4th block to the ground, like so. Once you've connected it to the ground, you now want to take this 4th block again and go right of it by a further 6. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then connect that 6th block to the ground to give you a shape which should in total look a little bit like this. Once you've got that, once you've reached this point right here, this is what you want to do next. So first of all, we just have to determine which side is going to be the front side of the house. So for me, this is going to be the front side of the house. And you know what? As a matter of fact, the entrance is actually going to be right here, and it's going to look a little something like this, just to show you guys where that's going to be. So once you've determined for yourself which side's going to be the front, which side's going to be the back, you now want to go to where the back side of your house is going to be. So this is this side for me. Once you've done that, you now want to take each one of these corner blocks that we have of the framework of the house right here. You want to take them and you want to extend them, each going back towards the back of the house, each by 6. So like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You can ignore the entrance at this point in time, it's not really relevant. And once you've extended them out each by 6, you then want to connect them together, and you also want to connect them to the ground, like I'm doing now. So, just currently connecting each one of them to the ground, like so. And once you've done that once, you actually want to do the exact same thing one more time. So where we have these spruce woods that are kind of facing us, we just want to, again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And of course, we then want to connect them together again, and we also want to connect them to the ground again. So we just want to end up with a nice little grid shape, which will look a little bit like this, just 2 blocks off the floor. And what those are, by the way, they're kind of just like stilts. This house doesn't sit directly on the ground. So once you've reached this point right here, this is what you want to do next. So we now want to take each one of these corner blocks that we have right here, so each one of these blocks that have been extended that kind of touch other spruce wood blocks, we want to take them and we want to increase them going up on top of them, each by 5. So like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, and since I decided to be clever and do the entrance, I also have to increase these each by 2 as well. The 2 at the entrance also have to, since these blocks are included, these also have to go up by 2 as well. So they're all 5. And once they are all 5, you then want to just connect each one of those 5th blocks together, just all the way across. You even want to interconnect them. So if you want, I suppose really you could just connect them all the way around in like a rectangular shape, but for tutorialing purposes it actually makes it a little bit easier if you interconnect them as well. So what you essentially want to form is that grid shape again, which we have just below us. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. So I'm just going to interconnect them as well, and I've just about done that, and once we've done that, we actually have to do a very similar thing once again. So, once you've reached this point right here, in which you have kind of like a nice 3D cube gritty shape, what you now want to do is roughly the same thing that we've just done, except this time, you want to go on top of each one of the corner blocks by 4 instead of 5. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's a lot of these. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2 left. 1, 2, 3, 4. And 1, 2, 3, 4. And of course, we then want to take each one of those fourth blocks and we want to connect them together, just top block to top block. And we also want to crisscross them, interconnect them together, etc., etc. Make a big 4x4, 4 in a row giant grid thingy. So I'm just going all the way around the outside and then I'll interconnect them together. And once we've done this, we will then do the frameworks for the roof. Then we'll fill in the walls. Then we'll do the roof itself, and then we have a couple of balconies to add, and then we'll be done. The framework is probably the most time-consuming part of this, guys, so we're just currently doing the grid shape, and there we go, guys. So that is the second floor completed. Once you've interconnected each one of those fourth blocks, this is what you want to do next. So you now want to come to the left-hand side of the house. You're looking for this block right here. On top of the block, near the back of the left-hand side of the house, you want to place a spruce wood block. Then, from this block, you want to do 5 upright diagonals. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You then want to take this 5th upright diagonal and you just want to do bottom right diagonals until you eventually connect all the way back down to the top of the framework, like this. And what you can also do is directly in the center of the triangular shape that you've just formed, you can just do a vertical row of spruce wood that kind of just like bisects the triangle like that. Once you've done that on one side, you now want to do the exact same thing on the opposite side. So coming to the opposite side, the right hand side here, we want to take this block right here, place a spruce wood on top of it. From the spruce wood block, do 5 upright diagonals. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We then want to do bottom right diagonals until we reach the other side of the top of the house, which is exactly what I'm doing now. Just like that. And then we just want to do that vertical row of spruce wood that just cuts the triangle in half, like so. Nice and simple. Once you have your 2 triangular shapes, this is what you want to do next. So you now want to come to the very front of your house. The 2 blocks that you're looking for are this one here on the left hand side of the top front of the house and this one here. So just like left and right of these open face spruce wood blocks that we have here. So on top of this block on the left that we have right here, you want to do 3 spruce wood coming directly up on top of it. So that's 1, 2, 3. Then you want to do 3 upright diagonals from that spruce wood. So that's 1, 2, 3. You then want to do 3 bottom right diagonals. So that's 1, 2, 3. Then you want to connect that 3rd bottom right diagonal all the way down to the top of the house to give you this shape right here. Kind of like a nice archway-ish triangular shape. Anyway, that's not important. Once you've got that formed, we can now move on and we can fill in some of this house. We can actually give it a little bit of character, guys. We can add in some of the walls. So the way that this is going to happen, guys, I think that I'm just going to fill in each of the individual panels of the front of the house, and I'm going to do this with the front, the back, the sides and what have you, and then I'm just going to show you what it should look like. It's not going to end well, just as I've explained in every single other house tutorial that I've done. It's not going to end well if I very slowly and carefully try to explain to you guys, you know, what blocks you've got to place where, when I think it's much more efficient to kind of just fill in the front of the house and then show you guys just what it should look like. I think that that's probably definitely the easier way to go, and I think it'll work better for both of us. You guys aren't going to get frustrated, and neither will I. So I do have a little bit to do on the front, as you guys can see, but it'll be worth it once I've actually finished this thing in the end. So now I actually just have some glass to add, and that is all I have to do, guys. So just give me a moment and then I'll be done. Oh, I also have a little bit of glass to add at the entrance there, but that's okay. Oh, it's not glass, I mean birch wood. So this is what you want to have for the entire front of your house, guys. Can you see that nice and clearly? I'm sure you can. It's a really simple pattern inside each one of the panels. It's actually quite varied, but I'm sure that you'll have no trouble whatsoever in just looking at that, applying it to your house for yourself. Of course, pause this if necessary if you're going to need a lot of time to work on this. Apply it to your house for yourself. Once you've done that, hit play, and then we can just move on to each of the other individual sides of the house, and we will use the exact same strategy. So that's the front of the house done, guys. Pause this if necessary, of course. Once you've applied that for yourself, we're now going to do the exact same thing on all of the other sides. So the next side that we're going to do is the back of the house, since it's the other large side. So the back of the house, exact same strategy. Like I said, I'm just going to completely fill in the back of it, and then that'll be that. It's actually a little easier than the front because it's not as varied. The front's a little bit more varied because it has two entrances for two balconies, which is why it's a little bit different, to say the least. So I'm just doing the back, which is a lot simpler. It actually looks a little bit more like most of my other wooden houses, which is good. I like these wooden houses. I like the fact that every single one of these wooden houses can kind of go together. I kind of like that they're all just little variations, and if you all put them in a village, it'd actually look quite cool. So this is what you want to do for the back of the house, guys. As you can see, a lot more simple than the front of the house, a lot less varied. But again, pause this if necessary, of course. Apply everything that you see on the back here. Apply all of that patterning to your very own house. Once you've done that, you can then move on to the next side. So we now have the left and right hand side to do. I'll take care of the most hardest part of the left and right hand side, which is the big giant window that we have at the top here, just sitting underneath the roof. And then I will move on to the much easier parts, which actually follow the exact same patterning as a lot of the other panels around the house. So now that the top's done just underneath the roof, all I have to do is add a little bit of birch, a little bit of spruce, and then some glass pane in the center of each one of these other four panels. So I'm now doing that, and once we've done this to this one side, of course, this left hand side I believe we're on, we can then do the exact same thing to the right hand side. So I'm now just going to add in all of the glass pane, and then everything will be dandy. So there we go, guys. Let me take a look at this for you. So as you can see, the four sides, like the four little kind of triangular kind of squarish slash rectangular shapes, they all follow the same pattern. It's just at the top where we have the triangular shape that is ever so slightly different. So again, pause this if necessary, of course. Apply everything that you see on this side to your very own house. Once you've done that, we can then do literally the exact same thing all the way over on the opposite side here. So now moving on to the opposite side, and I'll be doing the exact same thing. I think we'll start in the same place as well. I think we'll do the little panel that kind of sits below the roof here, and then we will do the other bits. So just come on. That's it. That's the only problem with starting with the glass pane. Glass pane can be really awkward, especially to place things on. It's not so awkward if you're kind of just like sandwiching it in between other materials. It's just, it gets really awkward when you start trying to place things around it. It doesn't like it. It likes to be the only material in the club. It really does. It's kind of like a hipster. It doesn't want to be near anything else. It just wants to be isolated by itself so it can be all special and snowflakey. So we're just adding in all of the spruce wood here. Then we've just got a little bit glass pane to add. And then we will be done with these sides. So as you guys can see, this is the opposite side of the house. There you go. Pause this if necessary, of course, apply everything that you see there. Once you've got that fourth and final side completed, we can now move on to something else. So again, pause this if necessary, of course. Once you've got all of that taken care of, we can now move on to the next bit. So once you've reached this point right here, we are now going to move on to the roof. Yeah, I think we'll take care of the roof first of all. So the roof, guys, whilst it is kind of easy, it's one of those roofs where it's actually kind of difficult for me to explain, possibly because I'm a moron. You know what, it's probably definitely because of that. So I'm just going to build it up a little bit, and then I'm going to show you guys what I'm talking about. So the roof is ever so slightly tricky on the front, just because we have this extra portion of the roof. So I'm just going to show you guys what I'm talking about. I'm going to build up like a quarter of this roof and then show you what I'm talking about. So it's really simple in design, it's just difficult to explain, and I think I have trouble whenever I have one of these types of roofs. So here's the deal with the roof, guys. It's kind of like multi-layered. You can see this front left-hand section of it. It starts directly in front of the spruce wood framework. As you can see, it just starts at the top there in line with it. And it goes as far on the front, it goes as far as here. And then it doesn't go any further. And then as you can see, when it gets high enough that it can finally like wrap around, and first of all just like reach the side of this like front sticky out bit, it just kind of goes around, wraps around the side, and then the next row does the same. So on and so forth until you finally reach the top. And again, it's not a difficult premise at all, it's just difficult to explain, and I'm sure that you guys will manage to make that no problem. And of course, something that you'll run into, you may have even noticed it on the side there, is you might just want to fill that single block in there just in with something, because otherwise it's going to be showing and light will shine through and you'll be able to see in your house, and I don't know, maybe a creeper will be able to squeeze its way in. But now that I've showed you guys what you have to do with the house, or with the roof I should say, we can now just move on to the rest of it. And again, I'm sorry that it had to be kind of like a show and tell sort of deal, but it's kind of difficult to just explain some of these things. It really is. So I'm now just currently building up the other side of the front part of the roof, which is definitely the more harder side of the roof, and we've actually done it. So just to show you the front side of the roof in total, this is what it should look like. As you guys can see, it's a little basic at the moment. We'll be improving it ever so slightly, but it goes about as far as there, it cuts off, and then it starts wrapping around, as you guys can see. So that's the front part of the roof. We can now move on to the back, which is just a standard roof. It's nice and simple. So we just start in line with the top of the framework here, and then we just build up and up and up and up until we eventually just reach the top of the triangle. It's that's why we add in these triangular shapes, guys, just so that we have nice little guides. And as long as we just, oh, can you see here? Can you guys see what I'm talking about with this hole here? I just noticed it there. So you might just want to plug those gaps with anything really. You could plug it with glowstone. It doesn't really matter. It's completely up to you. So I'm now just filling in the second half of the roof, the much easier half of the roof. Once I've done that, I'll make the roof look a little bit nicer, as I usually would. And then we've got a couple of balconies to add, as a matter of fact, guys. And we will also add the little walkway up to the entrance. And then it will probably be about time for me to go away and do the inside and the outside of the house. So let me, well, I suppose I should show you the back since I showed you the front. So this is the entire back of the roof done. Very simple, not even really worth showing because it is that easy. It's just a standard roof, and that is the roof in its entirety just about finished. All we have to do now is our standard practice, which is of course just extending the roof one block over the sides of the house. As you guys can see, I'm doing that right now. You just want to extend the roof over by one over the sides of the house, and that even includes this tiny little portion of the roof that we have just on the front of the house here. And I'm just also doing upside down stairs, of course, just underneath the overhanging parts of the roof. And now I'm just also going to add some spruce wood right at the top of the roof, as you guys can see. Is there any way to make this face the way I want it? No, I'll have to wait. So I'm now just filling in the top of the roof with spruce wood, and now that the front's done, I can actually move on to the left and right hand sides with the roof, as you guys can see. Doing this right now. And once I've done that, I think that I've already told you guys what's going to happen. We're going to do the balconies, then the walkway, then I'm going to mess about with the inside and the outside of the house. Although this is one of the houses which I like. This is one of the houses where you don't really need too much doing. to the outside of the house to make it look cool. It doesn't really require a garden or what have you. I do make a couple of houses which are like that, and I think I've been talking about this recently. That's the left hand side done. I think I've been talking about this recently, where I'm trying to make more and more houses which really aren't contingent on an exterior. Like, a lot of the quartz houses, for instance, a lot of the quartz houses that I make couldn't stand by themselves. They would really need an outside. They'd need a pool adding, or they'd need, you know, they need water features, or they'd need this or that, or a garden to really make it look good. But this is one of those houses I think kind of looks good even if you just made it and you didn't do anything to it, which I don't make too many of those. So this is the third and final side of the roof, guys. As you can see, we've done the front roof, the left roof, and the right hand roof. Now that all of those are done, we can move on to the next bit. So, the next bit, guys, the balcony. So, how do we do this? I know how to do this. What we now have to do, once you've reached this point right here, and obviously pause this if necessary if you're still working on the roofs, I know those can take a while. Once you have reached this point, however, you want to come to the front of your house, and can you remember how we extended each one of the, like, corner blocks of the framework out? Well, we now have to do that again, except this time you want to do it with just like this little square section that we have on the left hand side, the bottom left hand side of the front of the house, and the square section that we have on the bottom right hand side of the house. I'll show you what I mean. So you want to take this corner block and you want to extend it by 5 out in front of the house. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you want to do the exact same thing with this one right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then this one here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then this one here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then you want to connect each one of those blocks together, and you also want to connect them to the ground, just like this. You guys can see it's basically doing exactly what we did earlier, except it's a little bit more of a specialized section. So you kind of want to end up with this, like, it's kind of more like an ottoman shape with your spruce wood. So it just wants to stop there, and that's the left hand side one. And of course, for symmetricality's sake, and yes, that's a word, I made it up, you now want to do the exact same thing on the right hand side. So this block here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This one here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then connect each one of those 5 blocks together and also connect them to the ground as well. And you might even be wondering to yourselves, why did you wait until now to do it? Well, I figured that if we filled in the front of the house, it'd probably be easier to demonstrate that if these weren't here. That's why I decided to leave them off. So once you've got the framework for each one of the balconies completed, they're really actually easy to fill in. So all you have to do is just fill in the bottom and top parts of them in with birchwood planks or any material you might want to use. That's completely up to you. If you want to use a different material, that is your prerogative. You can do whatever you want. You could even use, and this is new, guys, I literally just downloaded the update today, you could use some limestone glass or any kind of glass. I'm going to find something cool to do with this glass, by the way. I'm sure that I can make a load of really cool looking quartz houses that involve this glass. So I'm now just adding in all of the birchwood planks, like I said, but again, you can use whatever material you want for the balconies. Maybe you want to use whatever material you're going to use for the floor. For instance, I might use black stained clay for the interior of the house, but you might want to do that on the exterior. Anyway, what you now want to do once you've filled in the floors of your balconies, you now want to take out your nether brick fence, and you just want to go around them. I usually just like to add this on for, well, safety's sake, if you want to say that, because I fall off of stuff a lot. But I actually think that these improve the look of the balconies by quite a lot. For instance, like this is the left-hand balcony with the fence. I think it looks kind of cool. And I think that the right-hand balcony looks kind of plain without it. So I'm now just adding in all of the nether brick fence. And once I've done this, all we have to do is the little entrance to the house, which is really, really simple. It doesn't take any time whatsoever. And then we're finished. So those are the 2 balconies done, guys. Let me just show you how to do the entrance. But it's pretty, you probably could have figured this out yourself. So we've just got 2 stairs here. Then we've just got, if that could face the right way, that would be lovely. And then we just have some spruce wood, which I wish would face the other way, actually. I think we can make it face the other way. So that is the entrance, guys. That's all I've done. 2 steps, spruce wood either side. And that is actually the house, the structure of the house, 100% fully complete. So here's what I'm going to do now. I now have to go all the way around the house, and I have to change each one of these spruce wood blocks and make them face the right way, because I hate it when they don't. I also have to do the interior. interior a little bit, and I also have to do the exterior of the house a little bit as well, and that's exactly what I'm going to do, except I'm not going to do it on recording because it's very time consuming. So this is the tutorial 100% fully completed, guys. The next bit is really just going to be me showing you what you could do if you actually put floors in, see what sort of space you're working with, and what you might want to do with the outside if you felt like it. So I'll be back in just a moment, guys, once I've made all of those things happen. Back in a mo. Alright guys, so as you can see, I have messed about with the house ever so slightly. I've messed about with both the interior and the exterior, not too much, just a little bit, just enough. Let's take a look anyway, shall we? We will start with the interior of the house first of all. So the first thing that I had to do for the interior is I had to add a floor to the ground floor of the house. Otherwise, you just fall straight through the floor and down onto the ground because this house is on stilts. And I decided to use birchwood planks. I was going to go with black stained clay, but I wanted this nice and light. I feel as though this house looks better as nice, bright and light. So I added a lot of torches about. As you guys can see, it's very well lit up, and I think that the birchwood planks were definitely a good choice. I kept all of the structural beams because I kind of like the look at them. They look kind of cool. And I also decided to put the staircase here. They kind of frame the staircase perfectly, don't you think? It fits right in the center there, and it's, I don't know, it's kind of like a cool piece to walk straight up to the second floor if you so choose. And of course, on the ground floor, we also have access to two of the balconies, which are very cool as well. You can kind of see the water down there below the house from here. And that's the ground floor. Plenty of space, very functional. You can put absolutely anything you want down here without too much trouble. So let's move on to the second floor, shall we? So the second floor, I decided to mess about a little bit with some of the new colored glass. I've not had a chance to mess about with it yet. I literally got the update just this morning before I decided to tutorial this house, so I've not had a chance to mess about with it. It looks kind of cool though, doesn't it? I'm not sure it's fitting though for this this particular project here around the staircase. I decided to kind of just move it around the staircase. It doesn't seem to fit in, but it does look cool by itself. The second floor, plenty of choices up here. Again, plenty of room up here on the second floor, nice and well lit up. Kept all the structural beams, and I decided to leave it open. You could very easily put a third floor in this house if you wanted to. You could have yourself an attic, and it'd be a pretty decent sized attic, but I decided to keep it open, put some glowstone up here, keep it all nice, bright and open, because we also gain access to those windows that we have right there, which we wouldn't have if we actually put a floor in here. So it keeps everything nice and light, nice and open, and it gives the room just a nice big feel. I like it, nice, wide and open. And moving on to the outside here, again, we've got access to the balconies, which I am a massive fan of, and that's probably just about it with the interior. So moving to the outside of the house, first of all, as you can see, I've really not done too much whatsoever. I've kind of elongated the staircase to the house, like the stairs to the house, and that's pretty much it. Of course, I also kind of bordered around the house with some spruce wood, and I very much, of course, added a big giant pond/water feature directly underneath the house. So I just dug, how far did I dig underneath the house? I dug 2 blocks underneath the house. The lower block, the lower floor that I knocked out, I replaced with birchwood planks, as you can see. Second floor, obviously, replaced with water, and I had to also elongate the stilts just by 1 row. I didn't have to. I could have made it so that I wouldn't have to elongate them, but it was a really simple job. So I made the stilts 1 block. Ow! I just flicked my microphone. That was actually quite painful. I wonder if you heard it. I elongated the stilts, and this goes to show you could really put this house anywhere. You could actually put on the side of a mountain. You just have to mess about with like the stilts a little bit. That might actually be cool. Maybe I'll make like a mountain house at some point. I might even use this house as kind of like a base for it, and I just filled in the area of water, added some lily pads just to kind of set the mood, and I think that's a really nice house, really simple. It's really not had too much done to it, and with any sort of imagination, I'm sure that you guys would be able to make absolutely anything you wanted out of it. I mean, I don't know, I didn't really want to add much of a garden. I think it was actually this house that I was talking about when I said that I don't want houses that are 100% dependent upon the outside of the house, the exterior of the house. Like, I don't want them to have a particular feature, a water garden or what have you necessary, and I don't think this house really requires what I've gave it. I think it's I think I could have put anything outside and the house would still look good, but I do think that the little water feature that we have outside does very much complement it. I get a very Asian themed vibe. I mean, obviously the house isn't really in that style itself, but it takes some elements, and I quite like that. But yeah, this is the house, guys. I believe that this is wooden house number 14. I might make a couple more more houses that are ever so slightly different like this one. I think that this is definitely much more different than quite a few of the other wooden houses that I've made. As always, hopefully you guys have managed to make this no problem. Hopefully you like it for yourself. Hopefully it's in your world somewhere. If you have any other kind of house request, wooden or otherwise, feel free to check out the card system and the links below down in the description for my other various house tutorials. Feel free to comment, like, subscribe, anything you would feel like doing to help me out, guys. I really do appreciate it when you guys do give me a like, favorite, share, absolutely anything you feel like doing to help me out. I always appreciate it. I love that. And I guess that's it, guys. So thank you very much, and I will see you in the very next tutorial.